The first hint was subtle, almost innocuous. My wife, Clara, had just returned from a solo trip to Cancun. A retreat she claimed was meant to recharge her batteries after the demands of her corporate job. We'd always had a strong bond, or so I thought, and I trusted her implicitly. But when she started recounting her trip, her tone shifted, her smile turning mischievous as she let slip, "Oh, and I got to taste some really delicious banana down there." The words were strange, laden with a smugness I couldn't place. First, I laughed it off. Maybe it was some local delicacy she tried, but the way she said it lingered like an itch at the back of my mind. She seemed too satisfied. That night, while she slept, I sat in the living room with her phone in my hand, staring at the lock screen. I hated myself for even considering what I was about to do. I'd always believed snooping was a betrayal of trust, but something felt wrong, and my gut wouldn't let me ignore it. My hands shook as I guessed her passcode, a combination of her birthday and our wedding anniversary. The first thing I noticed was a hidden folder in her photo gallery. My heart raced as I opened it. Inside were dozens of photos and videos. Clara at the beach, laughing in the arms of a man I'd never seen before. He was shirtless, tan, muscular, everything I wasn't. The captions below some of the photos made my stomach turn. "Best banana I've ever had. Worth every secret. Can't wait to go back for another taste." I nearly threw her phone across the room. The betrayal burned through me, turning every fond memory of us into a bitter joke. But it wasn't just the affair that crushed me. It was her glee. She wasn't sorry. She was proud of it. I didn't wake her that night. Instead, I started planning. The first step was finding out who he was. It didn't take long. Clara had foolishly saved his number under a fake name, KMAN. I reverse-searched the number and found his Instagram profile. His name was Javier. He was a bartender at a popular beach club in Cancun. His profile was full of shirtless photos, flirtatious captions, and hundreds of comments from women drooling over him. Clara had fallen for the cliché, the charming beach Casanova. The rage simmered as I scrolled through his photos, but I wasn't just angry. I was calculating. Clara's upcoming birthday was 2 weeks away. I decided it would be the perfect stage for my revenge. I spent those weeks gathering evidence. I downloaded everything. Photos, messages, even videos Clara had sent him. I hired a private investigator to dig into Javier's life. I learned he had a girlfriend, a woman who lived in Cancun and worked as a teacher. Her name was Sophia, and from her social media, she seemed sweet, unsuspecting. I couldn't let her stay in the dark either. When the day arrived, I acted as though everything was fine. Clara's parents and a few of our close friends came over for her birthday dinner. I even bought her a gift, a small silver locket, something she'd always wanted. She beamed as she opened it, completely unaware of what was about to unfold. After dinner, I stood and clinked my glass, signaling a toast. Clara smiled at me, her face glowing with satisfaction. She must have thought I was going to gush about her. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," I began, forcing a smile. "It's been a tough year for us all, but tonight is about celebration. Clara, my love, you deserve to feel special." She blushed, placing a hand over her heart. I felt a brief pang of guilt but pushed it down. "I got you something extra special this year," I said. "Something I know you'll never forget." I reached under the table and pulled out an envelope. Her smile faltered slightly as I handed it to her. She opened it, pulling out a stack of printed photos and screenshots, the evidence of her affair. Her face went pale. What is this?" she stammered. "It's your banana, Clara," I said, my voice dripping with venom. "Remember the delicious taste you couldn't stop bragging about? Well, now everyone gets to see it." Gasps echoed around the table. Her mother's face twisted in shock. Her father slammed his glass down, demanding an explanation. Clara stammered, her eyes darting around the room, searching for an escape. But I wasn't done. "I'm not the only one you betrayed, Clara," I said. "Javier's girlfriend, Sophia, deserves to know too." I pulled out my phone and played a video I'd recorded earlier, a split-screen Zoom call with Sophia in it. I explained everything, showing her the evidence. Her face crumpled as she realized the man she loved was nothing more than a lying cheat. I had sent her every bit of proof I had, and she promised to handle Javier on her end. Clara's jaw dropped as the video played. "You didn't," she whispered. "Oh, I did," I snapped. And I didn't stop there. The next part of my plan required a trip back to Cancun. After the dinner imploded, I booked a flight the following day and went straight to the beach club where Javier worked. When I walked in, he was behind the bar, laughing and flirting with a group of tourists. He didn't notice me at first, but when I slapped a folder full of printed photos and messages onto the bar, his smile vanished. "Recognize these?" I said loud enough for the nearby patrons to hear. His eyes darted to the folder, then back to me. "I don't know what you're talking about, man." "Oh, I think you do," I said, stepping closer. "That's my wife you're cozying up to in those pictures." "My wife." He tried to play it cool, but I saw the panic in his eyes. The surrounding tourists started whispering, pointing at the photos. His manager, alerted by the commotion, came over to investigate. "Is there a problem here?" the manager asked. "There sure is," I said. "This guy's been sleeping with married women and bragging about it. I thought you'd want to know what kind of person you have representing your business." I handed the manager a copy of the evidence. His expression hardened as he flipped through it. Javier stammered, trying to defend himself, but the damage was done. The manager ordered him to leave, saying they'd discuss his future later. But I wasn't finished. Outside the club, I confronted him one-on-one. The rage that had been simmering inside me for weeks boiled over. I didn't throw the first punch, but when he shoved me, I let loose. Years of frustration, betrayal, and humiliation fueled every blow. By the time I was done, he was on the ground, groaning, his perfect face bloodied and bruised. I stood over him, breathing heavily. "You don't mess with another man's wife," I spat before walking away. Back home, Clara's world was unraveling. Her parents disowned her, disgusted by her actions. Friends we'd shared for years sided with me, cutting her out of their lives. She tried to apologize, begging for forgiveness, but I was done. I filed for divorce the day after I returned from Cancun. As for Sofia, she kicked Javier out of the shared apartment and exposed him to their community. His reputation was ruined, his charm no longer enough to shield him from the consequences of his actions. Now, I live alone in a quiet house, free from lies and deceit. It's not always easy, but every day feels a little lighter. Clara and Javier got what they deserved, and I got something far more valuable: peace.